So for older hobbyists, and even, I guess, not so much yourself, but thinking into the future, but 40, 50-year-olds, right? If you want to open a gym or something, but just trying to stay moderately relevant. Obviously, like 40 years old, been doing jiu-jitsu for 5 years. I'm never going to be able to keep up with somebody like Joseph, not just like cardio-wise.
We're gonna ruin him with drugs and alcohol tonight anyway.
Sure, but like skill development wise, like what's the best bang for your buck? Like I feel like if I sit around home gym with people of equal caliber, like I'm never gonna find these positions that you've demonstrated here. They're just like mind-boggling. But like instructionals, come train at some high-level gym for a month or two. Like what would your recommendation for that be?
I mean, really, the stuff I taught here so far has been pretty simple stuff. You know what I mean? Like
the movements are, I don't disagree. Movements are very simple, but like finding those positions on my own, I feel like I could be locked away with an uke for 1,000 years and I'd never figure these positions out.
I mean, that would just be doing tons of positional sparring from these areas. I think that's what would help you the most. You know what I mean? And having specific goals in escaping and controlling people from those positions. I get it. I understand where you're coming from if we're talking like fancy leg lock entries, K-guard entries, beer and bolos. I understand all that. But I think the simple stuff, like most of the stuff we used was just trying to build height to shake guys off, trying to beat like the power half. All of these things are pretty simple ideas. Even the body triangle escape, like you could figure that out if you're in a body triangle enough that you're like, oh, actually I can turn belly down. I can find movement there that doesn't hurt me. I would just think breaking it down to the simplest form. Like that's the simplest way. That's how we all figure things out, Sometimes we might hit something live in a roll and then try to work out what happened. But yeah, I just think as long as you're not thinking too complex, you should be able to figure out a lot of this stuff. Obviously, we try to sell everyone instructionals all the time, but most of the stuff you can find just studying matches. I think that's super important.
But I guess if it were to say like, more time on the mat, situational sparring, focused movement, whatever, going and training at a high-level gym or say instructionals, YouTube, whatever. Like, if you could only do one of those as a hobbyist, like.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think visiting high-level gyms is good. Sometimes it's actually better, even as a young competitor, to not be there full time, because there's a lot going on at once. There's a lot of tough rounds. Sometimes the toughest rounds aren't actually the ones you learn the most in. So sometimes it's good to check into a place, roll, pick up some technique, then leave, and then use your lower level training partners to practice and further develop those ideas. I think sometimes growth in that direction is quicker than just being in it all day, every day, having those tough rounds.
So I've been doing the false reap a little bit, and I sometimes get like sprawled on when I've got the hook in and I'm trying to like cinch up the tighter arc position before I roll through. And do you have a solution for that?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, we really need to avoid being sprawled from the false reap. This reaping leg, the biggest mistake people make is they back heel with it. We want to extend it as hard as possible here. So obviously if you look at my right foot, it looks like I'm taking an active, almost looks like I'm pulling back. But when I pull back, Joseph can put a lot of body weight on me here, right? Puts a ton of pressure on us. What we actually extend his leg away. So I'm putting the boot in to this leg. So again, if I back heel and try to invert and Joseph's got weight on me, I'm never gonna go anywhere, right? If I use that to extend his leg, it allows me to shift his weight off of me to throw ourselves into this area there. So really just to focus on really extending as hard as possible. It should shift his hips away from yours, allow you to invert through.
So would you extend out before you fully locked on the arm? Like
Try.
on the rear naked choke, or?
If you do extend out too early and you don't have this cinch deep, likely you'll lose the leg along the way. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's a trade-off. You're trying to do everything all at once, and also you're trying to anticipate their response.
Yeah.
You know, there are some guys that are going to try to squash you from there. Some guys are going to try and rip their leg out. So you basically got to make a judgment call which requires more urgency in the moment.
Thank you.
I'm just curious, is there anything that surprised you with the Meregali match, considering his relatively short time training no-gi? I know he would, of course, have all of the basics like pressure and all those kind of things, but was there something that surprised you specifically in that match?
Honestly, not really. Like, I burnt myself out at the start, but even when I was exhausted, like, he looked busy because he was picking up singles, but really there was no threat with the single legs. Some of the stuff he sees partly strategy, you know what I mean? Like, if you're not confident you're going to take this guy down, pick up a leg and at least look busy
yeah.
to the judges. I would like to do it again just to see more of his game. I still think, obviously, he's still susceptible to a lot of things because of his inexperience in no-gi, and I think we'll see that in his next match that's been signed and not announced yet.
Dang.
But yeah, I mean, his style at that weight division, yeah, well, I think it'll be tough. I think there's opponents out there that'll be able to expose him. That's not any shade on him. It's just inexperience in those areas. And I mean, as we get bigger in weight, the guys technically suck. You know what I mean? It's easy to make the transition. It's harder to make the transition as a gi-only guy at lightweight than a gi-only guy at a heavier division.
And in a similar sort of vein, do you think there's anything that can be done to save gi jiu-jitsu?
Save it?
Yeah.
Nah, it's boring.
It's boring. There are some like fun guys out there, though. There's some guys who can have exciting matches. Do you think just the rule sets are...
Who's the gi guy with a personality?
Good point. Fair. And one last...
Yeah, we know about yours, Lorenz.
And I think the burning question, are you coming to Patong tonight?
Baton, yeah, I think I'll be able to survive for
Nice.
tonight. What's that?
Firstly, are you coming out tonight?
That's what I just said,
Oh, you
yes.
did, so I didn't hear that. Yes, okay, good news. So just looking at finishing the rear naked strangle from the back control, it used to seem like a few years ago it was all about controlling or holding that, like trapping the top arm, but now it seems like there's a lot more sort of hand pummeling side to side. Is that a fair like assessment of sort of the change and the way that you're kind of teaching, trying to find finish from there? And what are your thought processes to finish
You
that?
mean like the straitjacket controls and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like people used to do a lot more of this?
Yeah.
I think as people got better at turning escapes, this became more difficult. Because obviously a seatbelt, I at least have a bit more tightness to his shoulder, but when we have these turning style escapes, yeah, guys are really good at using shoulder mobility. For me, at all costs, I at least want this one-on-one. One-on-one allows me a bit more freedom to obviously throw this in. But what I'll do is I'll try and use timing to expose her, right? So say we got a seatbelt here, I'll do pass-offs, push down, and then punch it in deep. And I'll try to ratchet my hand behind the back. And oftentimes, for me to free this second hand, I'll be lifting. I'll try to be real patient on it, you know, like anytime I'm at both wrists, his shoulder mobility is huge. You see how far he can move. One-on-one limits that a great deal, so I'll try to focus on one-on-one controls and then just being patient here. Even at times like this, if I threaten, I know where his hand's gonna be, you know? Let's just say, obviously his hand's never gonna be down here, but let's say I go for the choke. I just be real patient with these pummels, and I really try to go super deep on my shoulders here to throw this deep, and I'll pummel up. I'll try to ratchet it against his shoulder to lift him up a bit. Here, if he tucks his chin, and he knows I want to go for a face choke, for me to hit the face choke, I really want low elbow pressure here. So obviously for him to counteract that, he wants to push my elbow higher, and that'll give me opportunities to pass the other arm through. We can pass off straight to this. Sometimes even when he pushes my elbow up, I'll just cover and strangle like this. Because if he tries to hand fight, he's always reaching for the wrong one. It's this hand's hidden. So often I'll just be passing off one deep, one shallow. So one deep, he defends that by pushing up, one shallow. And then anytime Joseph wants to switch hips, he's very vulnerable here. So he doesn't want to be on the bottom hip anymore. If we come back, he's never going to get me to the other hip with his chin tucked. If he keeps his chin tucked, he bridges. If he lifts his chin, So their most vulnerable time is when they want to switch hips. Or even sometimes I'll force it. If I can get this deep enough, I'll heavily bridge in. Spine here to punch through the other arm.